Welcome to this week's segment of Dialogue Houston. I'm your host, Lawrence Payne. To our regular viewing audience, welcome. To those joining us perhaps for the first time here for ACC's TV's Dialogue Houston, we're here now every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 a.m. and at 6 p.m., repeated again on Saturday afternoons at 3 p.m. As always, on top of the hour, let me thank you for your calls, emails, and text messages, and your thoughtful ideas and suggestions for future guests and topics to be covered on future segments of Dialogue Houston. A special thanks to those of you who came to the Brazos Bookstore last Thursday night for our book signing for our wonderful new book, Lessons in Servant Leadership. The Heart of Houston, Lessons in Servant Leadership. We're going to continue to talk about servant leadership with some great servant leaders here in our city in segments and weeks to come. And we're going to really look at what does it mean to be a true servant leader in 21st century Houston, Texas, the reference we always use in Steve Kleinberg's Houston, with the changing demographics, the fourth largest international city, etc. What does it really mean to be about we and us and not about I and me and be a true servant leader? We're going to explore those themes in the weeks to come, but to this week's show, we're going to focus on some areas that I think are going to be very important for you to be able to reflect with our guests on. It is, first of all, looking at some things we do here at ACC, and the second segment will be focusing on how do you begin to look at political life, political science, political reality, perhaps from a broader lens and a different perspective with our wonderful guests from the University of Houston, who I'll share with you in a little bit. And then we're going to move on to the second show where we'll be looking at issues talking about how we understand change and leadership in our community. But before we go further, let me just introduce our first guest for this evening, who is none other than Mesfin Genanaw, who is the Director and Chairman of HCC's Business, Financial, and Legal Services, Legal Studies here at ACC. Thank you. At the Central Campus.
Yes.
Welcome, and great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I was wanting to have you for a while because that area you cover from business, financial, and legal studies and the great programs you do, and particularly the conference you just had. First of all, tell us about the areas that you're involved in.
We've got 7 different workforce programs in the division.
Okay.
Accounting, business management, marketing, human resources
Right.
management, banking, and also paralegal technology. And we offer both AAS degree as
Right.
well as certificates
And I
in each
understand
one of
it's
them.
growing. The number of students who are coming into those fields particularly have been on the increase here at ACC quite rapidly.
Yes, definitely. It has been growing during the last few years. Yes.
Are there students that are coming to start to look at those areas as a career, or are they coming back to get new skills and new techniques who are already maybe involved in those industries?
Yes, well, basically workforce programs are
Mhm.
for students seeking training or skill
Right.
or some kind of knowledge, looking for some kind of employment.
Mhm, mhm.
So because of the labor market in the last few years,
Right.
more and more students are coming to get trained and have a job.
Okay.
So
And
the
you just
number
had
has
a
been-
wonderful event at the end of this month. Tell us about that conference.
Well, the conference was an successful entrepreneur conference, and we invited 5 different guests, and the keynote speaker was Jim McVell.
Oh, yeah.
McInville.
Yeah, Mattress Mac. He always gives a great
yes,
talk.
yeah. He was a wonderful speaker, and basically they were talking about the rewards and challenges of
Right.
owning a business and what you need to do in order to start your own business, and they shared their experience.
Yeah,
to
he's very good
students.
at that talk, and he's very good doing the Q&A of taking time with the students to
Yes.
answer all their questions. He goes pretty deep into the techniques and skills of what you need to do.
Exactly, yeah. All the challenges and the problems that he faced over, so
Right,
many years,
right.
and he has a lot of, humor, and
Right.
he knows how to explain things.
And he truly is one of those
enjoyed
success
it.
stories in this community.
Yes, definitely. That's why we invited him. In fact, we invited him last year. He couldn't make it,
Right.
and then he made it this year.
Yeah.
So
Something
we
about
were
a fire
glad
maybe
to
a
have
little
him.
while back that kind of put him off his
Yeah,
schedule.
he talked about that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget which year that he actually came here, because he tells it in the opening of his talk every time. But I happened to was doing when Mayor Kathy Whitmire was mayor, and I was her agenda director. I was sitting in the meeting when he came to visit Mayor Whitmire. He just arrived in Houston. He had $5,000 in his pocket, he said,
Yes.
to start his business.
That's right.
He came and made an appointment with the mayor, and he introduced himself to the mayor, and this is what he said. I remember the day very clearly. I was sitting in the meeting. He said, Mayor, I just wanted you to know who I am. I'm coming to introduce myself. I'm a new businessman in this community. I have not made my mark yet, but I will make my mark, and I want you to know my name now. And I thought that was
prophetic.
very
Yeah.
prophetic, very
Yeah,
prophetic.
yeah.
And he did it. And he actually went out and did it in a big
yeah,
way.
yeah.
But let's talk about entrepreneurship, because we were talking a little bit before we started taping today. Everyone who wants to be an entrepreneur, thinks they can be an entrepreneur, would like to pursue entrepreneurship. It's more than a notion.
Yeah.
And once you get into it and knowing what the nuts and bolts are and what you really have to do to be effective and efficient in that process, one of the things that you've said to me is that you've really tried to help entrepreneurs walk through those steps necessary to be successful.
Yes, especially the program is designed for people who already have workforce degrees.
Right.
It could be in cosmetology, or it could be in manufacturing, or it could be air conditioning, or
Right.
computer science, or any workforce program,
Right.
but they want to cultivate their entrepreneur ambitions. So we provide like 23 credit hour course which can be done in
Wonderful.
about a year.
Okay.
And we offer the program in a flexible format.
Right.
It's online, hybrid, and face-to-face
So
classes.
entrepreneurship is
And,
kind of the new buzzword. Everybody I know, everybody I
Yes.
talk to wants to be an entrepreneur.
and then at the end of the program, they develop a comprehensive business
Right.
plan with all the marketing analysis, financial details, and then ready for rollout. So
So in a
it's very
23-hour
helpful.
program, you can end
Yeah.
up with a certificate, entrepreneur
Yes.
certificate, where you have actually developed your business plan throughout
Yes.
that coursework.
Yes, and then we also invite guests like entrepreneurs.
Right.
And then they share their experience,
Okay.
and they prepare them to be successful entrepreneurs.
And then if they really want to go on and get into other processes and programs, those are available here through
Yeah,
the Goldman
definitely.
Sachs programs and other things that they can get deeper
Yes.
involved in if they
Yes,
choose to do so.
We got different programs. Yeah.
What has been, in your estimate, and doing this for a while and seeing the various students and the various makeup of the students come through, what's been some of their driving motivations? Do they say that, look, we've tried X and Y and Z and we know it doesn't work now, so we're looking
Yeah.
for a new way to approach these?
Yeah.
Because the business world, particularly in that area of small business development, is changing so rapidly. And of
Yes.
course, we still know that's where the majority of the jobs are going to be created, that in the future are going to be created through small businesses.
Yeah, especially people who are looking for a job, right away. Instead of doing a long, big program, they want to come and complete the certificate or the associate degree.
Right.
And then once you get your foot in the door, then you can move up
Exactly.
in the organization through experience. So that's why they come.
What's been some of their biggest aha moments? Because I always love these kind of programs, because usually at some point within the coursework or within the discussion, you can see that light bulb go
Yeah.
off. They have that great aha moment. What's been some of those
Well,
those
it
moments?
depends from discipline to discipline,
Right.
because we got so
Of
many
course,
programs
of
in it,
course.
especially when they are taking the capstone courses, which is very comprehensive, and they have been taking so many courses,
Right,
and then
right.
towards the end, when they get everything together, then they feel they are prepared now to go. So probably that's the
Yeah.
aha moment. Yeah.
Do they, I'm sure within the cohort groups and the students as they interact with each other, I'm sure they kind of get involved with each other's businesses, because I could see some connections get there about people helping each other.
Oh,
And maybe
definitely,
even
yeah.
ending up working with each other in business.
Yes. Mind you, there are class projects, group projects. They do different types of projects. Some have interest in marketing, others have
Right,
interest in
right.
finance, and others in human resources. So they are involved in different areas of business knowledge. So and then we have also student clubs. The financial literacy club that I advise here
Right.
at Central. We invite experts from different organizations,
Very good, yeah.
and so they come and talk about their experience. So they prepare them.
What I've always seen from the entrepreneurs I've been involved with and small business owners is that what you talked about, so important of that business plan, and being able to very thoughtfully go through the financial pieces of it and be ready to understand that you can't go into it undercapitalized.
Yes.
Because that's the
Yes.
biggest mistake I've learned from working with small
Exactly.
businesses.
Yeah.
That magic 6 months, year and a half, 2 years, that you got to be able to be in business and have the capital to have that startup to stay in business until you grow the business and you do the marketing to get the word out.
Definitely.
So many of them fail within the first 6 months, a year, and a year and a half because they go in and undercapitalized.
Yeah, yes, and also most of them fail because they didn't do the proper research
Right.
before they start the business.
Yeah.
They have to know the business. They have to have, the skill in the business they want to
So that
own.
front-end due diligence is very important.
Definitely, and then do financial projection. They must be prepared to have all the necessary
Right,
resources to run it. And once you have done the homework, then success rate is very high. But for people who have not done their
Right.
homework,
And
success
we've
far
had
away.
enough business people on the show over the 15 years have talked about their experience, and there's really a common thread that runs through all of this. As
Yes,
you said,
definitely.
It's not as
70,
magical
60,
and mystical as you
70%
think it is.
fail, yeah.
Exactly.
Because of that, yeah.
And the other thing that they always mention is that if you're the business owner or the entrepreneur, be prepared, particularly that first year, not to take a salary, because you're probably not going to be able to take a salary.
Yes, yes.
That you're putting money into the business to grow the business.
Definitely, and also be ready to work long hours.
Long, and that's the other thing I was about to
It's
mention.
not like working for somebody,
No.
so
Long hours.
long hours.
And if you're
so-
not willing to put the time in, then don't expect the
and then
results.
make sure your spouse is also on board.
That's true. There have been some
successful,
disunions of marriages. I think that's the new phrase they use now because of that. So give us your contact information, because I think a lot of people are going to want to get involved with you in the program, because you make it so easy by having the variety of times and places to take the courses as well as online. It makes it flexible enough that anyone who wants to get into it can
Yes.
do it.
Yes.
So tell us how we get hold of you.
Oh, I'm housed at BSCC Building 206
Okay.
at Central HCC.
All right.
And my number is 713-718-6481.
All right, 713-718 is on the screen, and we'll continue to. I want to get with you again, and we'll get a couple of your students on.
Anytime, yeah.
And we'll follow up
Anytime.
to kind of what's happening, what's going on, and we'll continue to do that.
Okay, thank you, Lawrence.
All right,
It's been
thank
a long
you.
time.
Pleasure. Good to see you
Thank
again,
you.
and good to have you on the show. Thank you,
right,
Doc.
thank you.
Appreciate it much.
Bye.